ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं
नारायणं
नमस्कृत्य
नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं
नरं
चैव
चैव
नरोत्तमं
नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं
देवीं सरस्वतीं
सरस्वतीं
व्यासं
व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो
ततो जयं
जयमुदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
भद्रेषु
अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवतसेवया
नित्यं
नित्यं
भागवत सेवया।
भागवतसेवया
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
भगवते
भगवती
उत्तमश्लोके
उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्ते
भक्तिर्भवति
भवेन्नयसुखे।
नैष्ठिकी।
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
कृष्णाय
कृष्णाय
वासुदेवाय
वासुदेवाय
देवकीनन्दनाय च
देवकी
देवकीनन्दनाय
नन्दनाय
च
च
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
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 गोविन्दाय नमो नमः।
गोविन्दाय
गोविन्दाय
नमो
नमो नमः।
नमः।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you everyone for joining. So we'll continue the study of the conversation between Uddhava and Vidura. Start. So this is the previous verse. Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, after thus discussing with Vidura the transcendental name, fame, qualities on the bank of the Yamuna, Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and thereafter he went away. Yeah. So there was, the whole night they were discussing the pastimes of Lord. It was because both were very attached to Lord Krishna. One is a friend, one is the other is an uncle, Uddhava and Vidura. Vidura in his past life was, anyone knows who was he?
Mahajan Prabhu.
Yeah, he is a Mahajan, yes.
Yama.
Yama, Lord Yama. So Lord Yama is a great devotee himself, and he came as Vidura. Yeah. Yeah, the word used here for Krishna is Vishwamurti. Both Uddhava and Vidura were in great affliction because of Lord Krishna's departure. And the more they discussed the transcendental name, fame, and qualities of the Lord, the more the picture of the Lord became visible to them everywhere. Yeah. So this is what devotees are always looking forward to. As devotees, we should also develop the desire to discuss. Whenever we associate with devotees, we should either discuss direct pastimes of the Lord or the pastimes of devotees with the Lord or the qualities of the Lord, right? So this is how association is meant to be always. We should not discuss the mundane topics or the services of the Lord. That is how a devotee does. Nidhanam upagatesu vrishniboje swa
निधनम् उपगतेषु विष्णुबोधेषु
adhiratayuthapa yutapeshu mukhya
अतिरथयुतप यूतपेषु मुख्यः
satukatam avisishta uddhavo yad
सतुकृताम् अवशिष्ट उद्धवो यत्
धरीरपि तच्चजा आकृतं त्रयादिशा
धरीरपि तच्च च अकृतं दिशः Mokshaha.
Please read.
The king inquired, at the end of the pastimes of the Lord of the three worlds, Sri Krishna, and after the disappearance of the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties, who were the best of the great commanders, why did Uddhava alone remain? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, Nidanam means the transcendental abode of the Lord. Ni means the highest, and Dhanam means opulence. And because the abode of the Lord is the highest manifestation of transcendental opulence, his abode can therefore be called Nidanam. Apart from the grammatical elucidation, the real purpose of the word Nidanam is to indicate that all the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties were direct associates of the Lord. And after the end of his pastimes, all the associates were dispatched to their respective positions in the transcendental abode. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur elucidates the meaning of the akritim as past tense. A means complete and kritim means transcendental past tense.
Yeah, continue, Maths, actually. Little more.
Since the Lord is identical with his transcendental body, there is no question of his changing or quitting his body. To act in accordance with the rules and the customs of the material world, the Lord seems to take his birth or leave his body. But the pure devotee of the Lord knew well the actual fact.
Yeah. So, Lord's pastimes of appearance and disappearance, they are transcendental, and we may not be understanding the mysteries of it. So in this case, Lord Krishna dispatched all his family members before he left the material world. Yeah. So and then Lord wanted Uddhava to stay longer. Only Uddhava. He will explain why he did that in the next few verses. Because Lord has such relation with Uddhava, such faith in Uddhava. We'll learn about that. This we read, right? No, we didn't read. Mothers, did you read this?
No, no, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Can
Sorry,
anyone?
I was speaking on mute. Sorry.
Okay.
All the members of Vrishni and Bhoja directly reach the abode of the Lord. Other devotees do not reach the abode of the Lord directly. But the pure associates of the Lord have no attraction for the opulence of any planets of the material world. Sometimes, due to inquisitiveness, devotees who are to be promoted to the abode of the Lord have some attraction for the opulence of the higher material planets above the earth, and thus they desire to see them while going up to the perfection.
Yeah. So all members of Vrishni and Bhoja, they all reached abode. Yeah. Yeah. Other devotees do not reach abode of Lord directly, but pure associates would have no attraction for the opulence of any planets. In fact, the pure devotees not even are attracted to go to not even attracted to the opulence of Goloka. They are simply want to serve, like Uddhava here. Sri Sukha Uvacha
Sri Sukavacha
Brahma Sapa Padeshena
Brahma Sapapadeshena
Kalena Moghavanchita
Kalena Mogavanchita
Samhritya Swakulam Spitam
Samritya Swakulam Svitam
Chakshan Deham Achintayat.
Yakshanteham Achintayat. Sukadeva Goswami replied, My dear king, the cursing of the Brahmanas was only a plea, but the actual fact was supreme desire of the Lord. He wanted to disappear from the face of the earth After dispatching his excessively numerous family members, he thought to himself as follows.
Yeah. So Lord, the purpose of Lord coming to the world is completed after performing all the pastimes. So he wanted to disappear on the face of earth after dispatching his excessively numerous family members. So it's all happened because of Lord's desire only, nothing else.
In the verse of the world,
Chakshan.
Takshan is very significant in relation to Lord Sri Krishna leaving his body, since he is the eternal form of existence, knowledge and bliss. His body and his self are identical. Therefore, how is it possible that he would leave his body and then disappear from the vision of the world? There is a great controversy amongst the non-devotees or Mayavadis about the mysterious disappearance of the Lord, and the doubts of those men with poor fund of knowledge have been very elaborately cleared by Srila Jiva Goswami in the Krishna Sandarbha.
So the great controversy is that, especially with Mayavadis, is that. So when Lord Krishna left, he left a so-called body, and it was, the Pandavas performed last rites. Even though Lord's body is transcendental, now that Kali Yuga is coming, right? So just to give affirmation to the non-devotees or especially faithless people, to let the Kali Yuga enter, he left the so-called body that was, as if it is material body. Lord's body is transcendental, but for the sake of the world, so that the non-devotees can say, yeah, he is also like one of us. Mayavadis also can say, yes, he is like one of us. But Lord's body is transcendental. Yeah. So when His Grace Amarendra Prabhu came, I think he was discussing, or somebody in a lecture I was hearing in Jiva Goswami's, I think in his Sandarbhas only, there were verses describing how Lord's body is transcendental. So Asmalokad uparate
Smallokad uparate
Mayi Jnanam Adashrayam
Mayi jnanam adashrayam
Ashrayam
Arhati Uddhava Evadha
Arhate
Arhate
uddhava
Uddhava
evadha
Evadha
Samprati Atmavatam Vara.
Samprati
Prati
atmavatam
Atmavatam
vara.
Vara.
Yeah, please read.
Now I shall leave the vision of the mundane world and see that Uddhava, the foremost of my devotees, is the only one who can be directly entrusted with knowledge about me.
So Lord has decided to leave the mundane world. Before leaving, he considered Uddhava as one who is very qualified to be given the knowledge about Lord. So Lord spends a long time speaking to Uddhava. That comes in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. The entire, just like Lord spoke 700 verses to Arjuna, Lord spoke much more, many more verses in the entire 11th canto to Uddhava. He talks about devotion service also very well. The chapters dedicated to how to worship Lord. It's a detailed discussion we'll have in future. Yeah. So, but we can see how Uddhava has won the heart of the Lord. He spoke that he is the one I can entrust the knowledge about me. Jnanam madashrayam. Yeah, please read.
Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvata. Only persons engaged in devotional service can factually know the transcendental position of the Lord. Uddhava was considered to be the best among all devotees of the time, and therefore he was directly instructed with the Lord's grace. So the people might take advantage of Uddhava's knowledge after the disappearance of the Lord from the vision of the world. This is one of the reasons why Uddhava was advised to go to Badrikasrama, where the Lord is personally represented by the Naranarayana deity.
So Uddhava was given this knowledge, and Lord also instructs Uddhava to reach Naranarayan Rishi, who are eternal, and they are in Badrikashrama, to share whatever he is sharing with, Lord is sharing with Uddhava. Uddhava was asked to share the same with Naranarayan Rishi, who are in Badrikashrama. Very few people know actually what has happened. It remained as mystery for many years right after Lord disappeared. Why so many people suddenly left the world like that? It was a great mystery. Nodhavonva apimanyunu yadgunair naradita prabhu
Prabhu
ato madvayunam lokam
Ato
Madhvayunam lokam
grahayan iha tishtatu.
grahayan iha tishtatu.
He is speaking about qualities of Uddhava. Gunair Naradit Prabhu. Please read.
Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way because he is never affected by the modes of material nature. Therefore, he may remain in this world in order to disseminate specific knowledge of the personality of Godhead.
So he's talking about the good qualities of Uddhava, great qualities. That Uddhava is also transcendental from the very beginning. Uddhava directly came is an associate from the spiritual abode to here, and is also one of the very confidential devotee of the Lord. Just like sometimes Lord sends his devotees to this world, like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, or himself comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, always wanting to benefit the world, to teach them how to go, lead a pure life and go back to Lord. So Uddhava is also one of the very entrusted person. So Lord leaves his devotees because the devotees know the heart of the Lord, like Bhaktyamam Abhijanati, the verse we read before. So only the devotee understands the heart of the Lord. And devotee is also unaffected by the modes. Right? What do modes do? Modes turn our nature, right? Sometimes we are in the mode of goodness. We are very peaceful, happy, talk nicely. Sometimes the mode of passion takes over. We get angry, we shout, or we get, we get moved by distress, stress. That is all mode of passion. Sometimes we are so sad, depressed. So when mode of ignorance takes over, we are depressed, feeling lonely, and so all these modes control us in the material world. That is how the game operates. But Uddhava is a pure devotee. The pure devotee, and just like Lord, is like, even though he's not like a big fire, he's like a spark of the fire. He is transcendental. He's not affected. He's not going to be ever angry or distressed or sad, melancholy. except for in the mood of in the service of the Lord. So that is that. So that's why, because if one is not a pure devotee, he cannot really purely disseminate the message, right? Like, and the transformation wouldn't come. Like for example, Prabhupada, he came alone. One man could transform so many countries, not done by anybody else before that. Many saints went there, but what is the actual transformation? How many people have changed their food habits? How many people, change their physical appearance? Shaving their heads. How many people have, you know, taken to a different, religious path, spiritual practice as a lifetime commitment? So he has really changed because of his. He is not never affected by modes of material nature. He was always transcendental, always connected to Krishna, and therefore is able to bring the transformation. So that's the effect of purity. When we are pure, we can that we don't need to. Uh, it's not in the way we speak or anything. It's about how connected we are to Krishna and what's our how whether we are under the modes or not. That's the real question. When you're outside modes, you will naturally, that will automatically come, whether you are hiding or doesn't matter, that just comes out. So we should work on ourselves. That's the lesson, right? Yeah, so that's the best thing we can do to ourselves, to try to become a sincere, humble devotee. That's the then Lord would entrust us. We don't, you know, by any other means, by none of what we have can we really impress Lord other than our own um, our own purity and attitude, right? Devotional attitude. Please read.
The specific qualification for becoming the representative of the Lord is to be unaffected by the material modes of the nature. The highest qualification of person in the material world to be a Brahmana, but since a Brahmana is in the mode of goodness, to be a Brahmana is not sufficient for becoming a representative of the Lord. One has to transcend the mode of goodness also and be situated unalloyed godness unaffected by any of the qualities of the material nature. This stage of transcendental qualification is called Suddha Sattva or Vasudeva. Vasudeva. And in this stage, this signs of God can be realized. As the Lord is not affected by the modes of material nature, so pure devotee of the Lord is also not affected by the modes of nature.
Because of his constant touch with the Lord, a pure devotee also, he always remembers, a pure devotee, just like Prahlad, right? Always remembering Lord. Even in the most difficult times. What was he doing? He was just remembering the Lord. So that is the ideal state of a devotee. This is the primary qualification for being one with the Lord. One with the Lord, there is there is nothing like merging into the Lord. It is in constant remembrance of the Lord, in constant being conscious of the Lord. A person who is able to attain this transcendental qualification is called Jivan Mukta, or liberated, even though he is apparently in the material conditions. He may be in the material world, he may be going around us, but he is actually Jivan Mukta because of his constant connection with the Lord. Yeah. Ihayasya harer dasye karmana manasagira Nikilasvapi avasthasu jivan muktasya uchate. Always, anyone who by his actions, mind, and words lives only for the transcendental loving service of the Lord is certainly a liberated soul. Even though he may appear to be in a condition of material existence. This is very powerful. His actions, mind, and words lives only for the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So his actions are fully transcendental. His mental activities, thinking, feeling, willing, all of these are transcendental. And anything he speaks is to serve the Lord. So ultimately, we should aspire to get to this taste. Right? So which means we should act for Krishna, think about Krishna, and speak only about Krishna. So that is the real goal of life. Evam Triloka Guruna
Triloka Guruna
Sandishta Sabdayonina
Sandishta
Shabdayonina
Sadhayonina
Badaryashramam Asadya
Padyashramam Asadya
Harim Ije Samadhina.
Harim Ije Samadhina.
Yeah, please read.
Sukdev Goswami informed the king that Uddhava, being thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge and the spiritual master of the three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Badrikashram and engaged himself there in trance to satisfy the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, so because being thus instructed by the Supreme Lord, on the order of Lord Uddhava, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge and the spiritual master of the three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Badrikashrama and engaged himself there in trance to satisfy the Lord. So he followed the instruction of the Lord. Yeah, please read.
Lord Sri Krishna is factually the supreme, the spiritual master of the three worlds, and he is the original source of all Vedic knowledge. It is very difficult, however, to understand the personal feature of the absolute truth, even from the Vedas. His personal instructions are needed in order to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Supreme Absolute Truth. Bhagavad Gita is the evidence of such transcendental knowledge in gist.
Even in Vedas, the personal feature of the Lord is not described as much. Yeah, so we need the association of pure devotees who heard in Parampara about this. So, what Lord Chaitanya has revealed to the world is not known for millennia, thousands of years, in that pure form, the direct relation between Radha and Krishna. Even though the material world existed for millennia, that secret was unknown. So imagine how fortunate we are. This is the transcendental relation between Lord and his consort wasn't revealed to the world for millennia. Not even in the script. We don't, of course, there is those who are very advanced could have realized that by reading, Bhagavatam, especially the 10th canto. But otherwise, it's not widely accessible to general population of this world. But Lord Chaitanya opened that secret for everybody. That's why it's called Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtvishay Namaha. Only Lord Krishna knows the depth of that wisdom. So he came in the form of his Srimad Radharani to reveal that. Please read.
According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, that confidential message must have concerned the mystery of his departure and the annihilation of his dynasty after the end of his appearance in the mundane world for 100 years. Everyone must have been very anxious to know about the mystery of the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, and that message must have been explained by the Lord to Uddhava and dispatched to Badrikashrama for the information of Naranarayana and other pure devotees of the Lord.
Because what happened uh, uh, with the disappearance of the Lord, nobody can understand, because uh, there was no, Lord did not reveal his plan about sending all of them to the abodes before he left. So Lord wanted this, the actual reason for his, disappearance past time. He wanted that to be known to the pure devotees, so that they are not, they're not concerned about this. It seems this confusion was there for at least 100 years. That what happened, why Lord left suddenly, what happened, why all the dynasty got, wiped out from the face of earth suddenly. Even when Lord Chaitanya left the world, I heard for 50 years there was, people were in such melancholy, uh, like everyone was literally crying in both Odisha and West Bengal. For 50 years, the impact was there. In fact, for a few years, Sankirtana was stopped uh, out of that shock that Lord left suddenly and disappeared. Nobody knows exactly how it all happened. He left in, he went into Thoda Gopinath Mandir and merged in the deity. So Lord's appearance and disappearance are very mysterious and very confused topics, and people have a lot of misinterpretations. So we should not hear anything about these from anybody other than in the Guru Parampara, in proper Guru Parampara. Only that we have to accept. We should not have any doubts about that, and we should not try to hear. Otherwise, it will unnecessarily concern and confuse us. Viduropi uddhava
Vidrupi
Viduropi
Uddhava
Shrutva
Krishnasya Paramatmana
Krishnasya
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 Paramatmana
Paramatmanaha
Kridayo Dehasya
Kridayo
Kridayopadhyasya
Patadehasya
Karmani Slaghitani Cha.
Karmani
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 Snahidani
Slagitani
Slagitani
Cha.
Cha
Cha
Yeah.
Vidura also heard from Uddhava about the appearance and disappearance of Lord Krishna, the super soul in the mortal world, which is a subject matter sought after with great perseverance by the great sages.
So Vidura also heard about the disappearance and appearance of Lord. Yeah.
Purport by His Divine Grace, Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The subject matter of the appearance and disappearance of the super soul, Lord Sri Krishna, is a mystery even for the great sages. The word Paramatmana is significant in this verse. An ordinary living being is generally called Atma, but Lord Krishna is never an ordinary living being because he is Paramatma, the super soul.
Yeah. An ordinary living being is generally called Atma, and Lord is called Paramatma. He is the super soul. Dehanyasam chatasaivam
Nyasam
Tasaivam
Tapaschaivam
dhiranam dhairyavardhanam
Dhiranam
Dhranam Daryavardhanam
anyesham diskarataram.
Annesham
Anyesham
Dushkarataram
Dushkarataram
Pashunam Viklavatmanam.
Pashunam
Pashunam
Viklavatmanam.
Yeah, please read.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord's glorious acts and His acceptance of various transcendental forms for the performance of extraordinary pastimes in the mortal world are very difficult for anyone other than His devotees to understand, and for the beasts, they are simply a mental disturbance.
For the beast, there's simply a mental because they just cannot understand about the transcendental nature of the Lord. Bhaktyama abhijanati yavantasyam yasthita. So only a devotee really understands the nature of the Lord. So these are because they're all extraordinary pastimes in the world. Yeah, and because non-devotees are generally they compare themselves and to the Lord, and generally they are envious. They won't relish it.
The transcendental forms and pastimes of the Lord, as described in Bhagavad Gita, are difficult subject matters for those who are not devotees to understand. The Lord never reveals Himself to persons like the Jnanis and Yogis. And there are others who, because of their envying the Lord from the bottom of their hearts, are classified amongst the beasts. And for such envious beasts, the subject matter of the Lord's appearance and disappearance is simply a mental disturbance.
Yeah. Atmanam cha kuru shrestha
Atmanam cha
Atmanam
kuru
cha
shrestha
kurushrestha
krishnena manasekshitam
Krishnena
Krishnena
Manasektam
jayan gate bhagavate
Dhyayan
Gate
Gate
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
ruroda prema vihlava.
Rodha
Ruroda
Prema
Prema Vihlava.
Vihola.
Vala.
Yeah.
Understanding that he was remembered by the Lord Krishna, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love.
So in his conversation with Uddhava, Lord specifically remembered Vidura, and when Uddhava speaks about that to Vidura, he was overwhelmed that when Lord was leaving this world, he remembered me really. So he was overwhelmed by ecstasy of love. Yeah.
Vidura was overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love when he understood that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of him at the last moment, although he thought of himself as insignificant, he was remembered by the Lord by his causeless mercy. Vidura accepted this as a great favor, and thus he cried. This crying is the last word in the progressive path of devotional service. One who can cry for the Lord in love is certainly successful in the line of devotional service.
Yes. So this is a very important statement. No? So one's heart should with the practice of devotion service over the period of our lifetime, we should make our heart, make our feelings towards the Lord so connected with the Lord that we should be crying for the Lord. We should not cry for anything material, loss of material things, gain of material things. We should not become ecstatic for those things or cry for those things. Eventually, everything material will be taken away from us, including our own life in this world. But real success of human form of life, it cannot be done in any other form of life. Only in human form of life. Real success is measured by how our heart is so closely connected to the love of the Lord. Are we ready? Are we crying for Krishna, to connect with Krishna, to go back to Krishna, to to associate with Krishna? Unless we have that intense desire, if you have any trace of desire to continue in this world, the result is that you will come back to this world again. So that's why Lord Chaitanya says, Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha pravrasayitam sunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virhenime. So this world is a big zero for Lord Chaitanya without Govinda. So that is the real consciousness of a devotee. For us, I mean, for me at least, Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Dhamba Virhenime. If somebody insults us, feel so sad, or somebody disagrees with us, we should not be actually. We should reserve our cries for Lord. Yeah, our ego gets hurt so easily in this world. So we have
Yes,
to
Prabhu.
take lessons.
Sorry.
Yeah, we have to take lessons from this verse.
Yes, Prabhu. Like, like most, like somebody like me, Prabhu, I don't even have, shame to say, but I don't even have the feeling of separation from Krishna. That is a shameless situation. Unless and until we have the feeling of separation, right, Prabhu? Most of the times, the burning desire to go back to Krishna, or to consider this world as zero, right? Jagat Sarvam Govinda, that feeling will never come, actually.
Yeah, yeah, we should constantly pray for that feeling we don't have, and always humbly surrender. We are not there. It means that we are still working on our becoming pure. Right? Same with me. I don't really think about it. I worry about my work or so many other things, family situations. Yeah, so we should we should cry that we don't have that right now. But
Yes.
I don't cry, Lord, I left you for so long, but feel I don't feel that separation from you. Yeah. So that is such reinvigorating thing. Because for materialistic people, unfortunately, because of lack of knowledge or whatever, they don't have any higher goal. Their goal is to just somehow retire and be peaceful. That's all. If I can retire, if I can take my responsibilities, I'm talking about people in the mode of goodness. The best thing they aspire for is if I can have a healthy life till the end, without any debts, without any burdens, can take care of all my responsibilities, and that's all I want. But for a devotee, it is, the real aspiration is to develop that attachment to the Lord. This is the only thing that they are after. कालिंध्या कतिभिः सिद्धा
Siddha,
अहोभिः भरतर्षभा
Ahobhi Bhatashrabha,
प्रापज्यत स्वः सरितं
Prapadyata Swam Saritam,
यत्र मित्रासुतो मुनि.
Yatra Mitrasto Muni.
Yeah, please read.
After passing a few days on the bank of the river Yamuna, Vidura, the self-realized soul, reached the bank of the Ganges, where the great sage Maitreya was situated.
Yeah. So now, after passing a few days on the bank of river Yamuna, because Vidura was what was Vidura doing at the time? Anybody remembers Mahabharata?
He went to pilgrimage.
He was on a
Prabhuji.
pilgrimage. He was, Lord Yama came to this world on a break for vacation to perform pastimes with the Lord. Now, yeah, so they spend whole night speaking about qualities of the Lord. Now he's you want to hear more. See, this is the important point. So he is a self-realized soul, as mentioned here in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Even a self-realized soul desires to hear the pastimes of the Lord. There is a misconception that once one is self-realized, there is no in the outside world. They don't, they don't aspire to hear about the Lord like that. So here it's clear. Even after self-realization is achieved, Vidura was aspiring to hear more and more about the uh, pastimes of the Lord. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj. He was about to die. If he is on the bodily consciousness, everyone is, so fearful of death. And he is about to die in a day, in a week. But he was completely absorbed in hearing the pastimes of Lord. So that is the nature of a self-realized soul. Actually, he want to hear more. He want to hear that and nothing else. Even Lord Chaitanya, Uddhava, not Uddhava. Gadadhar Pandit speaks Prahlad Maharaj pastimes from 7th canto, and Lord Chaitanya says, repeat again, Gadadhar. I want to hear again and again. Gadadhar Pandit speaks 100 times, still he want to hear again and again some of those verses. He loved so much relishing those verses in the association of devotees. So actually, the taste for hearing also develops very deeply for those who are advancing in spiritual life. They constantly want to be in touch with the words or about the words of the Lord. So we should also aspire to always develop the desire to hear about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord or qualities of the Lord or the devotee or the nature and characteristics and pastimes of the devotees of the Lord. So that's another lesson we can take from the life of Vidura. Okay. So from next chapter, chapter 5 onwards, it is continuous discussions of between Maitreya and Vidura. For how long do you know? The entire remaining chapters and fourth canto fully. So it's almost nearly 59-60 chapters.
Wow.
It's a long conversation between the two of them. Yeah, it's one full canto and nearly 80% of this canto.
That may be so much important, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah,
That's why it's covered
we
in detail.
discussed all the Maitreya is a Gnani before. Now he's going to discuss elaborately how actually all of this was explained by Lord only. It's Lord to Uddhava, but Maitreya elaborates because Maitreya also happened to be there when Uddhava was hearing from Lord Krishna. So he elaborates about how the whole thing came about. So it will be very interesting.
Lord told to Uddhava, is it Prabhuji? I didn't catch that point.
Yeah, Lord, before leaving the world, Lord has spoken to Uddhava on the sitting on the banyan tree before leaving the planet. So at that time, Maitreya happened to be there. He just comes there, and he was just standing there a little while. Lord was focused and looking at Uddhava and speaking to him in a loving way. And at the same time, Maitreya was just standing on the side like this.
Okay. So that detail Maitreya is going to now tell to Uddhava.
Yes.
Sorry, Vidura.
To
Sorry,
Vidura.
Vidura.
Because
Vidura.
yeah, Uddhava actually Vidura wanted to hear from Uddhava, And if you remember, in the last week we discussed with Uddhava feeling that he was very young. Vidura was, very much elderly to him. He's like father to him, father figure. He said, I'm too young to speak to you. You should hear from Maitreya, who is also with me, along with me.
Mm.
The other reason Acharya says that because, Maitreya is a jnani before. Of course, he became a devotee in the association of Uddhava and the Lord. It is better if Maitreya speaks about, because if the conversation continues about the creation, it must be Maitreya. I cannot speak this topic much. So he wanted him to hear, and of course, he will. The next canto is all about that, the discussion that Sukadeva Goswami speaks to Parikshit Maharaj.
Yeah, I think there was also a word where, it tells like how you have to allow the elders to speak first.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Maryada Vyatikrama.
I think, exactly. Yes.
So that's another, that's the external reason. External reason is that, Uddhava is, very young to Maitreya. He wanted rather Maitreya speak to Vidura, who is of, that age, older age, rather than him, because it's Maryada Vyatikrama. That's what Prabhupada writes in that purport there. The other reason was, when it is, because Maitreya still want to hear about the creation, because that was his, specialty, and he can speak very well also about these topics.
Vasna.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's a logical end. We'll continue next chapter in the next class. Thank you all very much.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.